My dear brothers and sisters, every one of us is searching for peace. We want strength in our hearts, clarity in our minds, and barakah in our lives. We wake up tired, we sleep worried, and in between we carry silent burdens no one can see. We ask ourselves, why does life feel heavy even when I pray? The answer is not always in doing more. Sometimes it is in remembering Allah. Dhikr is not just words, it is power. Dhikr is not a ritual, it is a connection. When your tongue moves with remembrance, your heart awakens. The world weakens you every day. Stress, fear, disappointment. But dhikr restores what the dunya steals. It strengthens you from the inside. A believer who remembers Allah consistently is never empty, even when everything seems lost. Dhikr is not just a collection of phrases repeated by the tongue. It is a source of real strength, real healing, and real transformation. Many people believe remembrance is something extra, something optional, something to do only when life becomes difficult. In reality, dhikr is what prepares you before difficulty arrives. It is the invisible armor that protects the heart long before the battle begins. A heart that remembers Allah is not easily shaken by the storms of life because it is anchored to something eternal. Every day, the world drains us. Words spoken to us, pressure from work, disappointments from people, fears about the future. All of these slowly weaken the soul. You may not notice it immediately, but the heart becomes tired, heavy, and restless. Dhikr comes to restore what the dunya steals. When your tongue moves with remembrance, something powerful happens inside. The heart begins to breathe again. The soul begins to feel safe again. You may still face the same problems, but you face them with strength instead of fear. Dhikr is power because it reconnects you to your true source. Humans were not created to rely only on their own strength. When we forget Allah, we carry burdens that were never meant for our shoulders. But when we remember Him, those burdens become lighter. Even the heaviest worries lose their grip. This is why people who remember Allah consistently can remain calm in situations that would break others. It is not because they have easier lives, it is because they have stronger hearts. When dhikr becomes part of your daily routine, your reactions begin to change. Anger no longer controls you the way it once did. Anxiety does not dominate your thoughts like before. This does not mean you stop feeling emotions. It means your emotions no longer control your faith. Dhikr creates space between what happens to you and how you respond. In that space, wisdom grows, patience grows, trust grows. This is real power, not physical strength, but inner stability. Many people search for motivation outside themselves. They look for speeches, people, or circumstances to make them feel strong. But dhikr teaches you something profound. Strength comes from remembrance, not from results. Even when nothing in your life changes immediately, something inside you changes first. And when the inside changes, the outside eventually follows. A heart filled with remembrance does not collapse under pressure. It rises with purpose. Dhikr also protects you from spiritual emptiness. There are people who have success, wealth, and comfort, yet feel hollow inside. This emptiness comes from disconnection. Remembrance fills that void with meaning. It reminds you that your life is not random, your struggles are not pointless, and your efforts are seen. Each word of dhikr becomes a reminder that Allah is near, aware, and in control. The power of dhikr is most visible during hardship. When life breaks you, remembrance holds you together. When tears fall and answers do not come, dhikr becomes your conversation with Allah. It keeps you from despair. It keeps you from losing hope. Even when your tongue is tired, the heart continues to speak. This is why dhikr is not just an action, it becomes a state of being. Over time, remembrance trains your heart to return to Allah automatically. In moments of fear, your tongue remembers Him. In moments of joy, your heart thanks Him. In moments of confusion, your soul trusts Him. This is transformation at its deepest level. You are no longer reacting to life blindly. You are moving through life with awareness and faith. This is why dhikr is power. It strengthens the believer silently, deeply, and consistently. It does not announce itself loudly, but its effects are undeniable. A person of remembrance may look ordinary, but their heart carries a strength that cannot be measured. They walk through life with calm steps, steady faith, and unshakable hope. Not because life is easy, but because Allah is remembered. Subhanallah, reset your mind daily. When you say Subhanallah, you declare that Allah is perfect and everything else is temporary. This dhikr cleans your thoughts from negativity. It trains your mind to stop complaining and start reflecting. Say it when things go wrong. Say it when things go right. Within days, you will notice calm replacing chaos, patience replacing anger, and wisdom replacing reaction. When we say Subhanallah, it may seem like a simple phrase, 3 words repeated in the tongue of a believer, yet these words carry immense power. Subhanallah means glory be to Allah, a declaration that Allah is perfect, free from any imperfection, and beyond human comprehension. When you say it with sincerity, your heart begins to acknowledge a truth that transforms everything. No matter how heavy life feels, no matter how tangled your problems may seem, the one who controls everything is lawless and fully aware. This awareness is the beginning of inner peace, because you start realizing that you are not in charge, and you do not need to be. You are in the hands of one who knows what is best, even when you do not. Repeating Subhanallah daily is like hitting a reset button for your mind. Life has a way of clouding our thoughts with negativity, worries about the past, anxieties about the future, regret over mistakes, and frustration over what others say or do. These negative thoughts accumulate like dust over a window. You may try to wipe them away with temporary distractions, but they return. Subhanallah is a spiritual cleanser. Each repetition reminds you that perfection belongs to Allah alone, and you are not defined by imperfection or circumstance. Slowly, the mind begins to notice beauty, mercy, and wisdom even in the simplest moments. You stop focusing on what is missing or what went wrong, and start seeing the blessings that were always there. This Dhikr also reshapes your emotional responses. When you face difficulty, whether it is anger from an argument, anxiety from uncertainty, or sadness from loss, saying Subhanallah gently shifts your perspective. It reminds you that Allah is aware, that He has a plan, and that His wisdom surpasses your understanding. In this way, Subhanallah becomes more than just words. It becomes a tool to calm your heart and steady your emotions. It trains your soul to respond with patience rather than frustration, gratitude rather than complaint, and trust rather than fear. Many people underestimate the impact of this simple dhikr because they look for change in external circumstances. They hope that stress will vanish, that problems will disappear, or that happiness will arrive in the form of new opportunities. But true transformation begins internally. When you say Subhanallah with understanding, your heart begins to shift from a state of constant worry to a state of trust and recognition. Your focus moves away from the things you cannot control and toward the one who controls everything. In this shift, a subtle but profound peace begins to grow inside you. Consistency is key. Saying Subhanallah once in a while will not have the same effect as repeating it intentionally and daily. When you make it a habit, morning, evening, during quiet moments, or even while walking and driving, your heart begins to develop a natural inclination toward remembrance. It is as if the words embed themselves into your consciousness, so that even when you are not actively reciting, your mind begins to recognize and reflect on the glory of Allah in everything around you. A beautiful sunset, a smile from a loved one, a moment of relief, all become reminders of Allah's perfection. Over time, this habit transforms your mind and your life. Stress no longer dominates your thoughts. Impatience no longer dictates your reactions, and dissatisfaction no longer overshadows your blessings. Subhanallah teaches humility because it reminds you that human life is limited and fragile, while Allah's knowledge, power, and mercy are limitless. It teaches awareness because every act, every thought, and every challenge is part of a larger reality that only Allah fully knows. And it teaches contentment because once you recognize perfection in Allah, you begin to accept imperfection in yourself and in the world around you. Ultimately, the power of Subhanallah lies in its ability to redirect the heart and mind from the temporary chaos of life to the eternal truth of Allah's perfection. 30 days of sincere daily repetition is enough to notice the subtle shifts: a calmer mind, a lighter heart, a more grateful outlook, and a stronger faith. But the true beauty is that these changes continue to grow over a lifetime, as the believer continues to return to these words, to these 3 simple letters of remembrance, carrying the power to transform ordinary moments into a spiritual awakening that shapes every thought, every feeling, and every action. Alhamdulillah, attract barakah into your life. Gratitude is not weakness, it is strength. Alhamdulillah changes how Allah deals with you. When you thank Allah in hardship, doors open in ways you never expected. This dhikr shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. A grateful heart is a magnet for blessings, peace and contentment. Gratitude is a force more powerful than most people realize, and the dhikr alhamdulillah, all praise is due to Allah, is its perfect expression. Life constantly presents challenges, obstacles and disappointments. Yet human nature often focuses on what is missing rather than what is present. We compare our lives to others, we dwell on what we have lost, or we worry about what we might never have. This constant dissatisfaction weighs heavily on the heart and clouds the mind. Alhamdulillah is a powerful reminder that gratitude is not about ignoring life's difficulties. It is about recognizing that blessings exist even in the smallest things, that Allah's mercy surrounds us in ways we often overlook, and that our circumstances do not define our happiness. When you begin to recite Alhamdulillah sincerely and consistently, your heart starts to see the world differently. You notice the sunlight, the air you breathe, the smile of a loved one, or even the smallest comforts you once took for granted. This awareness is transformative. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to contentment. Gratitude, expressed through dhikr, trains your soul to appreciate the unseen value in every moment, every trial, and every blessing. Over time, this habit changes your internal landscape, making negativity less dominant and joy more accessible. Alhamdulillah also carries immense spiritual weight. When you thank Allah for the blessings you have, you invite more blessings into your life. The heart that recognizes and praises Allah becomes a magnet for mercy, guidance and protection. It is not merely a repetition of words, but an acknowledgement that Allah is the source of all good. This realization brings peace to the mind and strength to the soul. Even in hardship, a grateful heart finds balance and hope because it knows that every challenge carries wisdom and every loss can be replaced with something greater. Another profound effect of Alhamdulillah is its ability to calm the restless heart. Many people live in constant tension because they focus on what is absent or what could go wrong. Gratitude flips this perspective. By consciously praising Allah for what is present, the heart becomes lighter, the mind becomes clearer, and anxiety loses its grip. You begin to measure your life not by comparison or lack, but by recognition of what you already possess. This shift in perception has a ripple effect. Patience grows, relationships improve, and decision-making becomes wiser. That consistency amplifies its power. Saying Alhamdulillah sporadically may bring momentary relief, but daily, deliberate repetition embeds gratitude into your heart and mind. Morning and evening, during mundane tasks, or at the moments when life tests you, repeating Alhamdulillah trains the soul to remain anchored in positivity and trust. Over 30 days, the change becomes visible. Small irritations no longer dominate your mood, setbacks do not destroy your motivation, and success is appreciated with humility rather than pride. The heart begins to see life as a series of blessings, large and small, rather than a series of obstacles. Moreover, Alhamdulillah teaches humility and dependence on Allah. When you acknowledge that every blessing is from Him, you remove arrogance and self-centeredness from your character. Gratitude reminds you that control is not entirely in your hands, yet Allah's wisdom governs everything. This awareness fosters contentment because you stop demanding the world to fit your desires and start trusting Allah's plan for your life. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to respond to challenges with praise instead of complaint. Finally, Alhamdulillah transforms ordinary living into a spiritually enriched life. It turns mundane tasks into acts of worship, ordinary moments into blessings, and challenges into lessons. 30 days of dedicated daily DHI. KR is enough to notice the subtle yet powerful shift. A lighter heart, a calmer mind, and a life that feels more blessed, peaceful, and purposeful. Gratitude is not just a polite habit. It is the key to unlocking inner peace, attracting divine mercy, and aligning your life with the rhythm of faith. The repetition of Alhamdulillah is the most profound investment you can make in your spiritual, emotional, and psychological well-being. Creating a life where blessings are seen, peace is felt, and happiness becomes a natural state of being. Allahu Akbar, break fear and build courage. Fear controls many lives. Fear of people, fear of failure, fear of the future. Allahu Akbar reminds you that Allah is greater than every fear. When you repeat it daily, your confidence grows. You stop fearing creation because you recognize the Creator. This dhikr builds courage, dignity, and spiritual strength. Fear is one of the greatest barriers to living a life of purpose, strength, and faith. Every day, people allow fear to dictate their decisions. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of the unknown, and fear of what others may think. It traps the heart and clouds the mind, leaving many feeling powerless and anxious. But the dhikr Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest, is a powerful antidote to fear. When repeated with sincerity, these words remind the heart that no matter how overwhelming a situation may seem, Allah's power surpasses all challenges. He is greater than every worry, greater than every threat, and greater than every limitation. This realization is liberating, for it shifts focus from what is frightening to what is infinite and unshakable. Saying Allahu Akbar is not just a ritualistic utterance, it is a mental and spiritual reset. Fear often grows because we exaggerate the power of the problem while underestimating the presence of Allah. The heart forgets that the Creator of the universe, the one who controls life and death, the heavens and the earth, is aware of every situation. When a believer declares Allahu Akbar, it is a conscious reminder that nothing exists outside Allah's knowledge and control. This awareness replaces panic with courage, despair with hope, and hesitation with decisive action. The transformative power of this dhikr is seen in its ability to strengthen resilience. Life is unpredictable. Difficulties arrive unannounced, relationships break, plans fail, and disappointments come. Those who habitually remember Allah through Allahu Akbar find that fear loses its grip. They approach life's challenges with a steady heart and a focused mind. The obstacles remain, but the internal turmoil diminishes. The difference is profound. Where a fearful heart sees only threats, a heart anchored in remembrance sees lessons, opportunities, and divine wisdom. The Allahu Akbar also cultivates courage and confidence. Many people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack the courage to act. They doubt themselves, their decisions, and the outcomes of their efforts. By repeating this dhikr, the heart is reminded that the ultimate power lies with Allah, and therefore, the believer is never truly alone. Every step taken with trust in Allah is supported by His greatness. Fear may still appear, but it is now tempered with faith. The believer moves forward despite uncertainty because they recognize that Allah's greatness overshadows every challenge and His plan is far superior to their fears. This dhikr also shifts perspective from worldly limitations to divine possibilities. Humans are finite, weak, and often vulnerable, but Allah's power is infinite. When a believer frequently says Allahu Akbar, they internalize the truth that no situation is too difficult, no enemy too strong, and no obstacle insurmountable. The heart begins to believe in solutions beyond human logic, in opportunities beyond visible circumstances, and in help that comes from a source that never fails. This is why fear begins to diminish and courage begins to grow. The heart becomes aligned with the ultimate reality of divine power. God's consistency amplifies the effect. Repeating Allahu Akbar daily, in the morning and evening, during challenges, or in moments of reflection, conditions the heart to respond to life with trust, rather than panic. Even small daily repetitions accumulate into a profound spiritual shift. Within 30 days, a believer may notice that fear no longer paralyzes them, anxiety no longer clouds their decisions, and hesitation is replaced with confident action guided by faith. The dhikr reshapes the mental and emotional landscape, allowing the heart to face life with steady courage. Furthermore, Allahu Akbar instills humility alongside strength. Recognizing Allah's greatness reminds the believer of their own limitations. It balances confidence with submission, courage with patience, and action with trust. The heart learns that true strength is not in controlling everything, but in surrendering to the one whose control is perfect. Life's challenges remain, but the believer is no longer enslaved by fear. Instead, they are empowered to face trials with dignity, patience, and unwavering faith. Ultimately, Allahu Akbar transforms the ordinary believer into a person of extraordinary resilience. It turns moments of fear into opportunities for trust, moments of doubt into moments of courage, and moments of weakness into spiritual strength. Daily remembrance over 30 days begins a process where fear loses its dominion, and confidence grounded in Allah's greatness becomes the heart's natural state. This dhikr is not just a phrase, it is a key to unlocking courage, tranquility, and unwavering trust in the face of every challenge life presents. Consistency for 30 days creates inner transformation. Transformation does not happen overnight, but it begins immediately. When you commit to daily dhikr, morning and evening, your heart slowly changes, your reactions soften, your trust deepens, your Iman stabilizes. 30 days of sincere remembrance can undo years of spiritual neglect. Consistency is the foundation of true transformation, and when it comes to dhikr, it is the single most powerful factor in reshaping the heart, mind, and life. Many people underestimate the value of repeated daily remembrance, thinking that spiritual change happens in sudden, dramatic moments. In reality, transformation is often quiet, subtle, and cumulative. Each day of sincere dhikr builds upon the previous day, layer by layer, strengthening the soul and conditioning the heart to respond differently to life. 30 days of consistent remembrance may seem short, but it is long enough to create a noticeable shift. A shift that begins internally and gradually reflects outwardly in thoughts, actions, and interactions. Consistency teaches discipline. A heart that remembers Allah daily does not rely on fleeting emotions, temporary motivation, or external circumstances to remain strong. It develops an inner rhythm that becomes natural over time. When a believer commits to daily dhikr, whether it is morning and evening or repeated throughout the day, the mind begins to recognize the importance of prioritizing connection with the Creator. Even when life is busy, even when challenges arise, the practice becomes a sacred routine, a lifeline that anchors the heart in stability. This discipline is crucial because without it, faith can waver under pressure and the soul can easily be distracted by the temporary concerns of the world. The power of consistency is most visible in the way it transforms reactions. Before consistent dhikr, a person may respond to stress with impatience, anger, or fear. The heart is easily shaken and the mind jumps from worry to worry. But daily remembrance changes this pattern. Over 30 days, the repeated focus on Allah strengthens the heart's ability to pause before reacting. Instead of being controlled by every emotion, the believer begins to act with patience, thoughtfulness, and wisdom. Life does not become easier, but the internal experience changes. Challenges are still present, but they are met with resilience rather than despair, clarity rather than confusion, and trust rather than panic. Consistency also deepens faith. The more regularly you engage in dhikr, the more the heart internalizes the presence of Allah in every moment. 30 days of daily dhikr cultivates a sense of constant awareness, a recognition that Allah is near, observing, and fully in control. This awareness shapes decision-making, influences behavior, and strengthens moral character. Gradually, the believer begins to live with a consciousness that every action, word, and thought carries significance. This is the essence of spiritual maturity, a life guided by awareness of the Creator rather than by fleeting desires or fears. Furthermore, consistency transforms ordinary habits into acts of worship. When dhikr becomes a daily routine, it integrates seamlessly into life's rhythm. Walking, driving, eating, working, or even resting can become opportunities for remembrance. The believer begins to live in a state of mindfulness, where every moment is a chance to draw closer to Allah. Over time, this daily practice changes the way the world is perceived. Ordinary life becomes sacred, challenges become lessons, and blessings are recognized in every corner of existence. Consistency also combats spiritual neglect. Many people feel disconnected from their faith not because it is weak, but because their remembrance is irregular. Sporadic dhikr does not train the heart to rely on Allah, it leaves gaps where worry, fear, and distraction take root. By committing to daily repetition, the believer closes these gaps. The heart becomes nourished, the mind becomes focused, and the soul grows resilient. Even in moments of difficulty, the foundation built through consistent dhikr sustains strength and composure. Another powerful effect of consistency is the creation of momentum. Spiritual growth is like rolling a stone uphill. The initial effort requires focus, but once momentum builds, it continues to move forward with less resistance. Each day of dhikr adds energy to the soul, reinforcing habits, strengthening faith, and deepening awareness. By the 30th day, a tangible difference is felt. The heart is calmer, reactions are steadier, trust in Allah is stronger, and life begins to feel aligned with purpose and meaning. Finally, consistency in dhikr is a form of commitment to oneself and to Allah. It demonstrates sincerity, dedication, and seriousness in spiritual growth. It sends a message to the heart that transformation matters, that faith matters, and that connection with Allah is a priority above all distractions. Over 30 days, this commitment produces results that are both visible and invisible. Stronger patience, greater gratitude, reduced fear, improved focus, and a renewed sense of purpose. Ultimately, consistent daily dhikr is not simply a routine, it is the vehicle through which a believer undergoes profound, lasting transformation. 30 days of devotion lays the groundwork for a lifetime of spiritual strength, inner peace, and unwavering faith. Each repetition is a step toward a heart that is anchored, a mind that is clear, and a soul that is steadfast, prepared to face life with confidence, courage, and unshakable trust in Allah. Dhikr turns ordinary days into worship. You don't need a special place or perfect conditions. Dhikr fits into your life while walking, driving, waiting, or resting. When remembrance becomes a habit, your entire day becomes ibadah. Even silence gains meaning. Even hardship carries hope. This is how ordinary believers live extraordinary lives. When dhikr becomes a part of your daily life, it has the remarkable ability to turn ordinary days into acts of worship. Many people live as if spirituality exists only in certain moments. In the mosque, during prayers, or at special gatherings. They feel that remembrance is confined to a ritual, something separate from the flow of their daily routines. Yet, the true beauty of dhikr lies in its flexibility and accessibility. It is not limited by time, place, or circumstance. It can be practiced while walking, working, eating, driving, or even resting. Every action, every moment, and every breath becomes an opportunity to draw closer to Allah. When a believer embraces this mindset, life itself transforms into a continuous journey of worship. The transformation begins subtly. At first, you may find yourself consciously repeating dhikr during quiet moments, such as sitting alone or before sleeping. But over time, it begins to extend naturally into every corner of life. Mundane activities, which once felt tedious or stressful, gain new meaning. Washing your hands, cooking, commuting, or completing a work task becomes infused with consciousness and purpose. The act of remembrance integrates into the rhythm of life, reminding you that nothing is truly separate from Allah. Ordinary moments cease to feel insignificant because they are no longer empty, they are imbued with the weight and value of remembrance. Dhikr turns challenges into opportunities for growth. Life inevitably brings hardships, setbacks, disappointments, disagreements, and unexpected changes. Without remembrance, these moments can overwhelm the heart, creating anxiety, frustration, or despair. But when the heart is trained through daily dhikr, difficulties become reminders of Allah's presence, lessons for personal growth, and chances to practice patience and trust. Even in adversity, the believer's heart remains connected, anchored, and resilient. This is the transformative power of integrating dhikr into daily life. It allows the believer to navigate trials not with fear or despair, but with faith, wisdom, and composure. Furthermore, daily dhikr strengthens the soul's awareness of Allah. The more consistently you engage in remembrance, the more natural it becomes for your mind and heart to return to Allah throughout the day. This constant awareness creates a sense of inner stability and balance. It prevents the heart from becoming consumed by worries, fleeting desires, or the pressures of daily life. When a believer is mindful of Allah, even ordinary decisions are guided by a sense of purpose, conscience, and moral clarity. Life is no longer lived passively or distractedly. It is lived intentionally, with an awareness of divine presence and guidance at every step. The impact of daily dhikr also extends to emotional resilience. Life's ups and downs affect everyone, but the heart that is regularly connected to Allah experiences these fluctuations differently. Joy is appreciated with humility and gratitude, while sorrow is met with patience and trust. Moments of anger, anxiety, or fear are softened by remembrance. Daily dhikr trains the heart to respond with balance, equanimity, and faith rather than impulsiveness or despair. The believer becomes less reactive to external circumstances and more anchored in internal strength. Another profound effect of incorporating dhikr into daily life is the enhancement of gratitude and contentment. The more you remember Allah, the more you notice His blessings in the ordinary moments. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the laughter of loved ones, or the peace of solitude. Every day becomes an opportunity to acknowledge these blessings and to give thanks. The practice of consistent dhikr shifts the heart from a mindset of scarcity and complaint to one of abundance and appreciation. Gratitude, reinforced by remembrance, transforms the way life is experienced, creating satisfaction and joy even in simplicity. Consistency in daily dhikr also fosters a sense of spiritual momentum. As the practice becomes habitual, it compounds over time, reinforcing faith, building patience, and strengthening trust in Allah. Ordinary days become stepping stones toward spiritual growth. 30 days of regular dhikr may already produce noticeable effects, but continued practice solidifies these changes, creating a life where remembrance is second nature. The believer begins to live in a state of ongoing worship, where every moment, no matter how routine, becomes a source of spiritual nourishment, connection, and growth. Ultimately, the power of dhikr lies in its ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. It teaches the heart that worship is not limited to rituals or special occasions, but that every breath, every action, and every thought can become an opportunity to connect with Allah. Through consistent daily remembrance, a believer experiences life with clarity, purpose, and spiritual depth. Days are no longer measured only by tasks completed or goals achieved. They are measured by the depth of connection, awareness of blessings, and constant consciousness of Allah's presence. This is the ultimate transformation. Ordinary life becomes extraordinary through the simple yet profound practice of dhikr.